failure pre-mortem?
Okay, so first, you want optimism. My little shorthand is I don't want to be my own bottleneck. Okay, so I try to work backwards from magic at the start. What would the magical outcome be? What would the thing that I really want to achieve look like? What's the optimal outcome look like? Then the next phase, this is where the failure pre-mortem comes in. So you switch from optimism to pessimism. All right, I know where I want to go. So now let's be my own critic for a minute. The failure pre-mortem, it's just this simple question of, if we look back 6 months from now, and this has failed, where does it fail? So it's just you're pre-analyzing where the potential points of failure.
Before you even get started.
You haven't done anything yet. But you're trying to be the one to figure out what are the flaws in what I'm about to do.
Okay.
And so the failure pre-mortem just says, if this fails, where does it fail? And you can come up with all kinds of things like that. Let me give you an example for habits. So like, let's say that you want to start going to the gym.
Yes.
And you're like, well, if this plan fails, where does it fail? And it might fail because you don't know which gym you're going to use. So you're like, all right, I'll pick one that's on the route of my commute each day. So then you say, okay, it might fail because I don't have my gym clothes ready. So you're like, all right, I need to set my clothes out the night before, or have my gym bag ready early. I had one person who they were like, I am going to the gym and I wish I could stick to it more, but this gym doesn't have a water fountain. And so when I go there, I'm like, I always forget to bring my water bottle. And that's enough to make me be like, I'm not going to go because they don't have a water fountain there. And little points of friction like that sound kind of silly when you say it, but you're like, yeah, that's a potential point of failure. And you need to have a plan for getting your water bottle full and make sure that you bring that each day.
Yes.
And so you start to check off these boxes of what are the things that could hold you back from this plan working. And then you switch back to optimism, because what you don't want is to go into this process feeling like you're doubting yourself to begin
I'm
with.
Screwed. Why am I even doing this?
That attitude just going to make it harder.
Yes.
So you start with optimism, you switch to pessimism, try to poke the holes in your argument, and then we're back to optimism again. We want everybody on board and feel like we've got the right attitude going into it.
Okay. I love this because one of the things that I immediately thought as you were using the gym example is I immediately could pop into the pessimism mindset. And I think I'm a good problem solver, but I was like, okay, well, I don't know what to do at a gym. And so I walk around and then feel overwhelmed and intimidated because I'm not quite sure what the routine should be. And then I leave. The other one is I would immediately see that I would have shot the goal too high and would have started with an hour every day for the next 6 months.
Sure.
And so now I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I got to reduce the time and stick to the schedule. And what could I get done on my worst day? So what could the goal be? So now I'm using your tools. And then I finally am now saying, well, I would about a weekend go, this isn't fun anymore. And so I can see how you can anticipate ways in which you would break your own ability to make it happen.
So 2 things here. The first is some of this depends on how you're measuring things. It can really be helpful to pick a different form of measurement. So if you take like going to the gym, what's the common measurement? Everybody's like, what's the scale say? And how do you look in the mirror? That's what everybody's measuring. But let's forget about that. Measure it in a totally different way. So this reader, his name's Mitch, and I mentioned him in Atomic Habits. When he first started going to the gym, all right, so he lost over 100 pounds. He's kept off for more than a decade now. And when he first started going, he had this strange little rule for himself where he wasn't allowed to stay for longer than 5 minutes. So he'd get in the car, drive to the gym, get out, do half an exercise, get back in the car, drive home. And it sounds silly. You're like, this is not going to get him the results that you want. But if you take a step back, what you realize is he was mastering the art of showing up. Right? He was becoming the type of person that went to the gym 4 days a week, even if it was only for 5 minutes. And that's the different form of measurement there. He's not measuring the results. He's measuring, did I show up or not? And that gives him something else to win on in the early days. I think this is a pretty deep truth about habits, something that people like often overlook, which is a habit must be established before it can be improved. It has to
hold on a second. A habit must be established before it can be improved.
A habit must be established before it can be improved. You have to standardize before you optimize. I mean, how often in our lives do we try to optimize things before we get started? You're so busy finding the perfect sales strategy, the best workout plan, the ideal diet to follow.
Best journal.
You're right. You want to optimize everything from the start.
Yes. Because it makes me think I'm doing it, James.
Right. That's exactly it.
It's a form of procrastination for me.
I call it the difference between motion and action. So motion are things that make you feel like you're making progress. So I'm going to look up a trainer that maybe could help me at the gym. Doesn't matter how many times you look up trainers in your area, it's not going to do anything to get you fit. Doesn't mean you don't need a trainer. Doesn't mean you shouldn't use one. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that action is never going to result in the outcome that you want. Doing a set of squats or doing 5 push-ups, that's something that could get the results that you want. And so researching business names. I want to launch a business. Or designing a logo. Doesn't matter how many times you design your business logo, it's never going to result in a paying customer. Doesn't mean a business doesn't need a logo, but it's just one is motion, one is action. So action is a behavior that can get the result that you want. Motion is a behavior that makes you feel like you're making progress.